Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ian as a Weirdo. I know that I look exhausted. I am. So, the shoe fits. Um, I, every couple of days, I've just been like, I have no energy. I can't get the ball rolling. Sometimes it clears up, sometimes it doesn't, but like right now it's like 5:30 and it's kind of like my day is just starting. I've been sleeping all day. We did a medicine change recently, and I think that is what is causing it. Because we updated my um, so I think that the medication I'm on is like a dual like mood stabilizer antipsychotic. And then we also like put an antipsychotic that I do have good results on, on an as needed basis and like a low dose, um, like at night. So it's like the one at night like does make me very tired. It's actually like my emergency downer. So like I do take that like anytime I'm like swinging up. But I just like so that usually makes me tired, but it doesn't last all day. It's got a fairly short half life. So like if I just took that to like sleep off a little bit, like it would be like a 2 hour like nap or something. So I doubt that that's causing like the like ever like the whole day like tiredness. I did look up some of the side effects of the mood stabilizer antipsychotic, and in the top 10, it's like not the most common side effect, but drowsiness is part of it. That's pretty common with medications of this sort because they just want you to like chill the fuck out. But it's hard when you are in like a mixed episode or something like that, which is where I was at, because they really want to take away like the like part of it first. Like that's the biggest, most dangerous part, which I think most people don't think. If you're not in like psychology and psychiatry, it's like you want to take away like the manic part first because that's actually the most dangerous part because people go buck wild when they're manic. So you want to take away that part, but then you leave and can potentially worsen the depression by what you're doing. So it's like, well, if you're having both mania and depression or hypomania and depression, which is what I was having, then it kind of like leaves this big kind of like gaping hole of like. So I'm really struggling with energy. I know that I look like fucking like thing one or thing two right now. Whatever. I literally have slept all day. So, you know, spare me any comments how I look like shit right now. Because I know. Believe me, I know. I last night, if you're not keeping up with what's going on, so I finished the sleeve of the trans pride portion. I think it looks great. It definitely looks different than the Lion Brand yarn that I used for my original piece. But I'm hoping that this is exactly, this is just the look, especially once we have the yellow side and we have a yellow circle, sorry, the purple circle right here. I think of this, I'm hoping this will be the perfect representation of the person who ordered it, because that's what this was all about, is like people just being able to say like, this is who I am. And I really like the idea because I hadn't really seen much at that point of people being able to have like multiple pride flags on them. I think we're starting to see more now, which I love. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm like some kind of trendsetter in that fashion. But it is cool because we are more than just like um, we are more than just one thing, and sometimes just a rainbow or just like asexual flag doesn't really cover it. So I really like that we can do that. Um, let me see. Um, so I'm gonna rewatch the I'm going to turn on the tutorial and put it on closed captions so that I can kind of see what's next. I think I know. I think we're going to do 3 rows in the back. And so you do like 3 rows of one color, and that's going to be, it's going to be a little bit longer in the back so that you can so that you can connect it with 3 rows back of the other side. Hi, Nifty, welcome in. I was really hoping that you would see this because I felt bad that you missed just you wanted to just see me more yesterday, so that's the only reason why. Let me pause this real quick. So I'm working on my hexagon cardigan. The sleeve is done. I am happy with it so far, and let's see. I know I look like shit. I think it's the medicine change. I don't think it's depression, but like it could be. Like these things just happen. I'm watching it on closed captions because those are very helpful for me. How have you? Not my best. If I'm being honest, like not my best. I'm just been like it's been hard to like kind of like balance like my mental health and get it like to stay balanced because I things are just hard. Okay, so she did a cuff. I'm not doing a cuff. Let's see what's going on here. You look good. I love the red on you. Thanks. It's actually this is the company I used to work for. Um, Interesting. I wouldn't have chained that much. I would have chained more. So it's cool to see when people have different techniques than you. Okay, so basically, so I need to add just as much to the bottom as I did to the sleeve. And I don't know how many rows that's gonna be. So, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so I'm gonna start here, right here in the center back, because then I can always. Oh, ouch. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't mean to be like a bummer. It's just like that's the kind of the thing about mental health, right? Is like sometimes it's just not great, and it's something that when you're dealing with chronic mental health problems, it's just something that you have to deal with. But I do appreciate like you just asking like that is very helpful, and I don't think people talk about enough how like just asking how someone is doing, how like helpful that can be to someone's mental health. So I really do appreciate it. Um, and these moments come and go with me. They're not, they don't last forever, even if they're kind of not that great. And I'm having a bit of a hard time. They don't last forever. So it's just about sometimes it's just about getting through it, getting through the hard times. Okay, so center back. But how have you been? Yeah, I feel like we haven't been able to talk a little bit. We've been having a little just time time differences. And I haven't watched because like you weren't on when I did my makeup either. I don't think. I tried to watch Rabid Grannies and it was so offensively bad and very homophobic. Very homophobic. And I was like, I can't watch this. This is bad. It's real bad. So I'm gonna use some white actually because we haven't used we've been lacking the white department. I had to add my own white to this a little bit just when if the yarn doesn't add enough by itself. This yarn has been barking on me nonstop. Nonstop. Okay. So Nifty, I don't know if you know, but like for me, I am disabled due to my mental illnesses, and that's why I can pretty much go on whenever, but I tend to go on later. And for me, it's there it is. Uh, and I have bipolar disorder, so it's like bipolar disorder just by its nature is like you're gonna have good times, you're gonna have way less than good times. So, you kind of take it, you kind of learn to take it with like a not a grain of salt, but because it can be very severe, but you learn to just, have to accept that that's part of the disorder is that there are good times, there are bad times. I think that kind of goes through everything in life, but it is a little bit more extreme with bipolar disorder. So, um, should I turn this? Yeah, I know about that, and yet you still hold fun. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's so sweet. You're so sweet. I try. I mean, I try not to like come on here. Like, if I know I'm having a bad day, I do stay away from the internet, which is why some days I'll just be like, I'm not going live or I'm not going to be on. Because for me, it's like, it's better to just be, um, be separate from people that um, I might be like snappy towards or something like that. Um, and I have I don't know if you I don't know maybe I'm the only one who notices it because it's like internal and I don't like show it, but like I've been like more irritable lately, which is kind of one of my early warning signs for like any kind of mood change. And so like sometimes I'll be like a little bit more snappy and I'll be like, oh, and I don't feel like quite myself in that time. And I don't like being that person because I like being someone that I wouldn't say that people view as positive, but I like being a nice person when I can be. And so I don't take any joy in being an asshole. Like to people who aren't trying to like be, assholes back. So I don't take any joy in that, but there are times when it's like ugh, I'm so irritable that I can't I just can't control that itching urge that I have to just go off on someone. And when that happens, it's like I just need to stay away from the internet. I just need to stay away from people and just crochet, watch TV, And I think that that's one of my coping skills, is just trying to like isolate and like, and not necessarily isolate, but just kind of like control how I like have my social interactions. Um, I will say that that's been part of the thing that has made my marriage harder, is that it's like, well, when you're married, you kind of can't just like not be around that person sometimes. And, um, I think that, that's been a big part of what like led to, the separation that we're going through now. It's like, um, which I haven't talked about at all. I've been keeping it very close to my chest, but I think that it's okay to talk about now, because um, I think that it's gone on long enough that it's okay to talk about and be open about it. Like, um, my wife is great, but it's very hard. Like, my mental illness is very hard on her, because it's a fucking team sport trying to reel someone back in from the edge, like she's had to do for me so many times, and so it's exhausting, and I can't find scissors. um, so yeah. Yeah, and it's so easy for like it to just like want it to disappear and then not want to deal with it and like all of this stuff. And it's like, well, eventually you just gotta kind of deal with it, unfortunately. And those aren't always the easiest things for us. But like when I was looking for this the other day or yesterday, excuse me. But it's like when we were living in my parents' basement. It's like, well, we didn't have a lot of room, and we were just like constantly like we didn't have any the opportunity to even like be away from each other at all. And it's that, like, no matter how much you love someone, you don't love someone. Like you, it will drive you crazy to be around them like 24/7. And I think that we didn't realize how, it was kind of like starting to like creep in until it was a little bit too late. But we're still trying to work it out, and that's what relationships are all about. Just trying and doing your best. So that's part of the reason why I moved out, um, which I haven't talked about. Like, I just haven't, because I didn't want to, and I didn't feel like I was like ready to. Um, and so like I live by myself now, and I have a lot of like concerns about like my safety, and I don't know. It's just like it's a lot of stuff. I don't mean to like dump this all on like everybody, but like I just, yeah, that's kind of why like I've just been 24/7. It's a, yeah, it's so, it's just like it will, it is very hard on all parties, for sure. So we're both trying to make it work, and doing everything that we can. But if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We both still have like a lot of like love and respect for each other, which I'm, if it doesn't work out, like I'm happy that we still have that. But we're just trying not to. Um, we're just trying to be like respectful of the other people, of the other person, and things like that. Okay, so I'm still crocheting. And but yeah, I do want to switch topics, but I did want to mention, just because I felt like that was something that's like been kind of sitting pretty heavy on me. It's like that like I like have to like I didn't pretend really, but like sometimes people ask about how my wife is doing and stuff like that, which is very sweet and very thoughtful. But it's like, well, I don't, I like, I talk to my wife every day, but we just like text. And half the time it's about just our pets and stuff like that. We still talk a lot because we are friends, truly. Um, but it's just not, we're not living together, so it's a very different situation. But I just haven't been really open with it because it's kind of, it's a personal thing. Um, but yeah, kind of just going through like mood changes while being alone is something that I honestly like. Honestly, have I ever had to do? Like I've never lived alone. I lived with a roommate for a couple months before I started dating Mel, and I had gotten kicked out of my house. Um, so I don't. I feel like there were like some times that I was doing really bad and had my roommate, but like um, I don't think that I still have friends like Mel that I could talk to, so I didn't feel so like alone. Whereas now, like everyone's kind of like living their lives in their 30s or whatever age they are, and it's just kind of like, okay, well, I can see how this is like. This is a lot different than um, I don't know. Uh, it's a lot different dealing with things when you are like when you know that you just kind of like don't have that like social support, and social support being such a important key in like a lot of people's like recovery and like safety and all of these things. You start to realize like, wow, I'm actually alone, and so for people to like come and like help me, I would need like a lot of like communication, and I don't necessarily have that. But the roommate situation was also really weird because like I was unmedicated at the time, and like the reason I was unmedicated was actually pretty like it wasn't like I like wanted to be unmedicated. I had actually like a couple years prior had a really bad like accidental overdose of this. Wow, this is getting really deep. Sorry. Um, I had like an accidental overdose of the medication that I was on. They thought I would be able to go up a certain amount, and my body was like, "No, you can't." And so I was off medication for a while, and then while I was living with my roommate, I was trying to get back on medication, and my roommate was pretty anti meds at the time, which is a little ironic because they're very pro meds if needed now. Um, but I keep my mouth shut because that's not my business. But whatever. But they were constantly telling me about like how I didn't need to be on medication and stuff like that, and it was just not a super healthy relationship. About that, at least they're still a good friend, and like, honestly, like I still value their friendship, but that was not their finest moment. Um, but yeah, living on your own is very different, but also it's made me like realize there are a lot of things that like I let um like I would always be like, why is like Mel so like mad about like the dishes piling up in the sink or like something like that. But like now that like the dishes are piling up in my sink, I'm like, oh, I totally get that. And I hate that like I had to like move out by myself, let that happen to like feel like, you know, um, to like feel that like empathy, but it's just because like it's never been part of my life, unfortunately. But fortunately, I don't know. But it is like now that I like experience those things, I'm like, oh, Okay, now I get it. Like, you know, I get like a lot more of like why Mel would be like so, um, you know, annoyed with certain things, I guess. Um, or just like, you know, uh, particular about certain things. Like, yeah, so it's interesting. It's interesting for sure. I still like my apartment, but it is lonely. It is, you know, I can't imagine having tried to do like the drag look that I'm doing in our old place because it is just taking over the whole apartment. And I'm gonna have to change my wig and everything. I talked yesterday about how like I hate everything about um, about the costume that I was making, the rainbow and gold one, just because like the tension isn't right to stretch out the motif, and I honestly don't know what to do to change it. I'm sure I can figure it out, but I don't have time. So I think that like for now, I'm just gonna like toss that one on the shelf and just try to make do with something else. I've got a couple other options that I'm gonna try and see if I can make work. So um, I I have an option that is a sewing option where I had an oversized sweater that's gold and black. Yeah, I mean that's just my life. I honestly like my life is never boring. I I just wish that my life was boring. It's never ever fucking boring. But that's okay. You know, it's like some days it's too much for me, but most days it's like, yep, that's just how it is. And you just got to kind of roll with the punches. And I get punched by life a lot, like a lot. So if every single punch kind of took me down, I don't think that I would keep going, even though there have been times where I have not tried to keep going. Um, but it's been really hard for both of us. So I don't ever want to like negate how much like Mel's been through and stuff like that because she's endured a lot as well, and that she's tough as nails for real. Uh, yeah. So now that we're getting to the corner, I don't want to add any. Okay, okay, I'm gonna turn my work. Yeah, but you know, it's like that's just life, you know. I think that some people, you know, they're constantly having life kind of throw them curveballs. Some people have like, whoa, like that just kind of happened out of nowhere, you know, and then you know they get beat up on occasion. Some people are just born under a lucky sign, and they never really have bad things happen to them, or it's very rare, or maybe you don't know what's going on, you don't know the struggles that they go through. For me, like if I focus on like everything that's bad in my life, like I'm not getting out of bed ever. I'm not going forward in my life ever. But if I focus on like, you know, like if I just focus on keeping trying, like that is what is motivating enough for me. Because like I could be like, nah, no, it's too much. It'd be really easy to do that. And sometimes I do have that mentality. But for now, we're just making do. Um, but yeah, so that's pretty much like the those are the big things, that are going on. Just a couple big things. My life, since I got my concussion in 2019, which I know I bring up all the time. I know I bring up all the time, but literally it changed my life so so fucking much that like it's kind of like um I would say it's one of the biggest events of my life for sure. And so while like I know I bring it up a lot, it's because like it changed everything for me. And I feel like borderline obligated to bring up how it changed my life because I know that there are other people out there who have had either concussions and traumatic brain injuries or like other things that have happened to them that change their lives that they just like don't feel like they can talk about or people are tired of hearing about because like it's all they talk about. But like ever since that happened, like my life has just like constantly been like a series of like ouch 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 ouch, just like it's like it's rolling down like it's been like rolling down like a spiral staircase, like falling down the spiral staircase that doesn't have an ending. It's just been that kind of like, okay, you think you're at the end? Nope, this is gonna still go on and on and on and on. And on. So I just, have a fair amount of bad luck, and that just is what it is. Um, but I'm trying not to, I try not to be um, as negative as I could be. And I am pretty negative in my head, but I think that like talking to people and seeing like other people go through things, even if no matter like what the intensity of the situation is, seeing them get through it like gives me a lot of hope. And so I always value like when people come in and like they're able to talk about what they're going through because it's really important to I like being able to provide a safe space for people, but it's also really nice that we can constantly like lean on each other to go through these hard times together because nothing is worse than going through a hard time and feeling absolutely alone. You know, I think that that makes it the hardest is feeling like you're alone in the situation. And I think that one of the reasons why I haven't talked about things going on with me is because I felt so alone. And hey, Leather, it's because I like, felt so alone, and then I just kind of didn't really know how to address the situation because it was, and it is very private, but it's also, at some point, um, it's still, part of my life and whatnot. So yeah, so this has been a really nice, the granny hexagon cardigan has been a really nice project to do to just be able to kind of like be mindful and to just like you don't have to think too much when you do do it. Oh, also Leather, I've been meaning to send you my thoughts on the hook, so I really apologize. I've just been like I sorry, my brain's going through it. I promise I will get those thoughts to you, but like I can't even like I can't right now. And the moving at because I think I got your hook like the week I was moving, and then it was like, don't lose this hook, don't lose this hook. I spent so much thought about not losing your hook, and like because I was like, well, what if I move and then this hook gets like put into a box, um, and then luckily I did not, and I've had it on my coffee table, so I see it every day. I see it every day, but like I just like haven't been able to send you the thing. Also, I think when I got it, I was having like a pretty bad like wrist and hand flare, so it was just kind of like um, it wasn't like a great time to start using a new hook. You know what I mean? Okay, cool. I just wanted to let you know that that was like it was still like on my mind. But yeah, so I guess so. Let's switch topics like completely, and it doesn't roll away. Yes, that is a great quality because furls do roll. Furls will roll. Uh, uh, let's get just switch topics completely. Because like my brain's like running on E right now, and I'm not talking about like funny. I'm talking about like empty. So like, what have we thought about 100 Days of Halloween? Like the setup, watching the scary movies. Do you feel like you're kind of watching the scary movie with me? Do you feel like you're kind of like what do we think of that? Because before I've tried to do like where I watched a movie and then like I like hung out with people, and no one really liked that, and so I was a little surprised that people have seemed to like it this year. So any feedback would be really cool. Um, but also, I've done like where I did like 100 nights of like crafts, or I've done like different crafts, and those have been hard to keep up with because like the timing of everything is like I'm not incredibly an incredibly fast crafter, so it's been a little challenging. So those have always kind of blown up in my face a little bit. But I feel like this might be the most successful, knock on wood. This might be the most successful 100 nights of Halloween thus far. So yet. So interested to hear like what everyone's thoughts are. Because it almost feels like, to me, it almost feels like we're just doing our normal hangout thing, like we're doing right now. And then there's just the added component of me making like a random comment about a movie that's on, you know? Yeah, who cares? Days, nights, whatever. Yeah, it's really fun. I can't believe we're on, what are we on, like 64 or something? We're in the 60s. And I can't believe it. Like, that's we're getting really close. So I mean, like especially to like the halfway mark of the 100 days. August is coming to a close. We're starting to see a lot of Halloween stuff in store. Oh my gosh, did you, I think Leather you might have commented on it. I'm not quite sure. But the video I did about the Halloween yarn from Big Twist, that like blew my mind. It's going so fast. Now I'm like, should I just like stream every night? I might become like a daily streamer, or like daily like posting videos or something like that. I don't know. Because it's like it's pretty easy, especially if I have like a kind of like relative time that I do it. I will say that Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern is when they do like knit and crochet night for the alumni of the intensive outpatient program that I'm doing. So Monday night might be shifted by an hour later. Yeah, it is nice to watch things together. I kind of wish that I could like. I wish there was a way that I could like buy something and like share it out so that we could all watch it together. That would be really cool, but I don't, that's definitely not even a possibility. Um, like even if I had like a discount to a streaming service that like had like all of that stuff, and it was like everyone can get the discount to the streaming service. But like even if that was possible and I was like a big enough YouTuber to swing that, like people would still have to spend money, which sucks. Yes, it's like I swear they reformulated. I swear this has to be different dye. Also, the yarn does feel different. Last year, I would say that the yarn felt very similar to Big Twist Value, where it kind of has that like more, it's not spun as tightly, but this yarn is spun a little bit more tightly. And like, who knows, once you start working it up, it might be different. The yarn feels like a higher quality. It's really exciting, and I wish they had this yarn all the time. So I wonder if maybe last year they just weren't happy with the yarn quality, and that's why they had so little of it. But I'm so glad I ordered enough. Now I'm like, do I need to order more? But I don't have space for it. Although I want to order more. I do really want to order more. Vamp was still very, very demure. Uh, app for Windows. Plex has tons of things. Is it like a movie watching service? Also, I've seen some things about torrenting films, which I'm like, I've never been one to do, but like, so I'll still make something. I'll just have to figure out what I want to make. And now knowing that I'm limited to those three, I'll still use them. Like, it's not like they're trash. They're not unusable. I know that I can't combine a project with those skeins and have them look the same. It's just not gonna happen. So I'll have to figure it out, because what my original plan was is I wanted kind of like, I was just kind of mentioning something that I saw the other day. God, I'm so tired. And I'm not like, I'm not like, like, I could go to sleep right now, frankly, but I would be up at like 11 o'clock and kind of have trouble sleeping. So that's why I'm trying to stay awake. But I feel like my body is like very, very tired. You can't just have a 9-ball project. Honestly, like, because these are like my dream colors. Like, I love oranges and I love blacks, but also the way that they incorporated the gray and like the different tones, like the yellow, orange, and stuff like that. I mean, like, this is a great color. The Vamp I don't love as much. No, I'm like, it's either like side effects from my medication changes, or just just like general depression type tired. Let me look up Plex.tv. Oh, so is it like a rental thing? With a free Plex rental account, you can keep a single unified list for any movie or show you hear about on any service. You can stop hopping between. Okay. So it kind of just consolidates all of the things you have, I guess. And then you can watch it with them. Oh, that's pretty cool. This is really cool. But it looks like they still have to have the streaming service, if I understand it correctly. I'm way past like stressed, tired. Yeah, so it's free, but it said like it, but but like it doesn't say that you can just like watch anything. It says you still have to have the accounts for the. Maybe I'm like not looking at it right. Like it looks like it just like pulls everything into one, but you have to have the services that you've selected, right? Broadcast a movie that you're watching. I don't think so. I imagine that you might be able to do it on something like Twitch. Twitch, from what I've seen other creators do, doesn't have the same copyright infringement um, uh, type of attitude that YouTube has. So I've seen people play like full songs and stuff like that. So Twitch might be the place to do it. However, I watch things on. I mean, I guess I could watch it on my computer and then I could be on Twitch and then I could have my screen showing and we could watch it like that. Um, that would be definitely a possibility. Um, I don't know how the audio would work because sometimes it's like, well, it wants the audio from whatever is playing, but then the audio, the mic from my computer might not. Um, yeah, I'll have to check out Plex Leather and see how that and see how it works because like how it's being described on the website is not quite matching up, but I just might have misunderstood it. My brain is jello right now. So like yeah, that's part of the reason why like I've started um, doing a little bit more streaming on Twitch just to kind of check it out. But like I think that it would be fun to do some more Twitch streaming. But it's weird going to a new okay. Okay. Yeah. Um so that's cool. I don't think I'm going to get around to doing the Stitch of the Month this month, which makes me sad because I was really excited to make a little tree for my cat graveyard, but I'm just like I don't have time with the drag show with the orders, which is a good problem to have, but I don't think I'm going to get around to doing it, unfortunately, which makes me sad. But I did watch the video again because I was like, I want to, like remember like that like the stitches available to me whenever I want to use it, and it was fun. I It's interesting how people interpret videos and uh, just like different things in a video. I guess I'll like to clarify, like someone commented like, "Hey, like I can see that you're really nervous, but like you're doing a great job." Like they were trying to be very positive, but saying that I was nervous, and I was like, "I'm not nervous. That's just like kind of who I am." Um, but I sat with that comment a lot, and it's kind of like when I I feel like I talked about it yesterday a little bit, where there was someone who came on and they said something to the effect of like, so they were like talking to me and asking me questions about wanting to start to crochet, and I felt like we were kind of on like slightly different pages, maybe. I don't know. And then they said not to be mean, and then they basically said that they were going to go. And at that point, I kind of had like, and I think it's like my anxiety that like, it's like, well, like, was like, were they being mean and I didn't notice it? Or like with the comment about the anxiety or being anxious, and it's like, well, was I anxious? Like, do I sound anxious? Is that how I sound? Like, um, um, yeah, on YouTube, but not necessarily on Twitch as far as I've seen. So, um, and but like the thing is, I think you can pay for like you can like rent movies on YouTube. So I wonder. I don't know. I mean, there's all kind of possibilities out there, but I haven't explored many of them because I don't want to pay for things, or it's just not been something that like we've really done, so it's not been worth it to look into. So, but I start to kind of like anxiously kind of like spiral, where I'm like, was I was like, was I like, were they being mean and I just didn't notice it? Like, I'm an idiot and I didn't notice it? Or like, was I really anxious and, they picked up on it? And like, is this like, do I sound anxious? Does everyone think I'm anxious all the time? Which I am pretty much anxious all the time. So, I mean, like, that's not far fetched, but it's kind of that like anxiety spiral that's super easy to get into. And I wonder if other people who like have anxiety, if comments like that like sit in your brain the same way, where you're like, well, I didn't think you were being mean until you said not to be mean, and you actually sound good today. See, that fucked me up. I was talking about like the tutorial I did. You actually sound good. See, this is like my anxiety just like totally running rampant. Like it's just like you sound like a mess, and you like everybody knows you're a mess all the time, and you are fully nobody. Like that's what my brain hears. So it's really like anxiety's like not trustworthy, and you have to like know that, and like know that anxiety is like constantly trying to like pull one over on you, because if you think that um even like for a second the anxiety is like right, that it will kind of like crush you, because it'll be like, ha ha ha, I got you. But really, it doesn't. You can get through it. But it's kind of like those thoughts of like, well, were they being mean? Did I sound messed up? Like, do I sound messed up other days? And so it starts to like, those thoughts start to like kind of permeate your brain. And so like for me, like that comment like sat there for like 45 minutes before other people started to chat. And so I kept on looking down in it, and I kept on like coming back up in my head, like, oh my gosh, like I like this person was being mean to me. And I didn't even know it. Like, wow, I'm an idiot. And so I just kind of had this like anxious, like like going on the back of my head. I'm like, I need to chill the fuck out. But like, I know I'm an anxious person. I know I'm also like, I know that it's interesting because sometimes, like, for me, like, I talk at a speed that fits, like, I just talk whatever speed that I do. Yeah, no, I think they were being supportive. I don't think they were being mean at all. But like when they were like not to be mean, but I'm gonna go. I was like, wait, were you being mean? And I just missed it. You know, it's like I think they were being supportive. I don't think anyone who's like said anything that I just mentioned was being mean or condescending or anything. I just think that like my anxious thoughts go to like, oh, now everybody knows that you're like a huge SMS. Oh, I'm sure you have heard me be anxious. But like also one of the things that I realized watching the video, um, the Stitch of the Month video, is that I'm talking pretty fast. And I don't always like hear how fast I'm talking. And the pace of my talking can change quite a bit. And like it can be one of those things where like um I think that like I guess like psychologists and psychiatrists use this a lot when they're kind of like trying to do your like check-in about how you're doing, because they want to see like, okay, like is this person like kind of like elevated and like you know like it could be like hypomania, mania, or it could just be my ADHD just kicking into high gear. In that video, it was definitely my ADHD. Like it was definitely like adrenaline ADHD, like going. And but I was talking so fast. I was like, oh my gosh, is this how fast I talk normally? But I know when I'm really depressed, that like I can just sound like I'm like I just like talk and move a lot slower. And so it's interesting to like kind of, I don't really go back and watch anything that I've ever done. um, uh, um, like I don't really go back and do that because it's weird. I go through the comments though. I try to reply to every comment, unless it's just like some like random thing, and I'm like, I don't really get what's going on here, so I just gonna ignore it. But I do try to go through every comment, and I feel like it's interesting to like go back and actually listen to to the the video, because I have noticed that like you can like for me, as because I know myself obviously uh, quite well, I can see that change in like energy, and like I know I'm able to see like what is kind of going on, maybe like a little bit easier. But also my doctors kind of see the same thing too, where if I come in and I'm like idea, talk fast, talk. Oh my gosh, this. Oh my gosh, this. Oh my gosh, did I mention this? Oh my gosh, before we go, I gotta talk about this. And so it's like I always wonder like how did I like go through so much of my life without without being diagnosed with ADHD. And I think that like it must have been because they thought it was hypomanic, like for you know those large parts of it. And I might have been, because they look so similar in a lot of aspects, but then in other aspects they don't. And I feel like that misdiagnosis really started to affect my ability to like um, do things, because ADHD does affect executive function. So like your ability to just kind of like do things. Um, that's this kind of like main like attack method, is like attacking your executive function. And so things become very overwhelming. Stimulus can like if you get overstimulated, it can really make things hard for you. So for me, I getting the diagnosis actually really made a big um, yeah. Oh, I'm I'm very I'm very anxious. But I mean, that's cool. It's fine if like you wouldn't define it that way. You know, it's like it's totally fine. But like I'm just like an anxious person. I would say that I'm far less anxious on YouTube than I am in real life, like because this has become like a comfort spot for me where I don't need to be anxious about things. Um, Now there are some people, I guess is the best way to describe it. I'm not trying to call anyone out. Hi Crystal, working and lurking. Ooh, are you what's going on in your world, Crystal? Like, what are you working on? I'm always seeing you spin the most beautiful yarn, and I'm just like, oh. Um. So, what was I saying? But like off camera, I'm actually probably the most anxious person you'll meet. Like, I will like if I am put in an anxious situation, like I visibly shake like a chihuahua, and I will like shake apart. I like look like I'm about to just like shatter like a teacup. Which is like it's funny because like I did like a charity um run. I think it was the end of last year. I did the Alzheimer's Association. Um, uh, I did the Alzheimer's Association. Uh, uh, the longest day, I think it was, or something. And I invited my therapist at the time to come watch it. I was just like, hey, if you want to just like show up, like you can. And like so it wasn't like a huge like, hey, let's be friends and like be like blur the lines of like patient and like practitioner. It was just like, hey, if you want to show up, this is something that I'm preparing for. I'm a little nervous. We had talked about like, you know, what happens if like something, you know, whatever. So like we had done like some like preparing and stuff like that. So it's like if you want to show up, you can. And she watched it and she was like, you are a different person. And it wasn't like a, ooh, hello, Quibbly, Quibbly the Sandwing. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm working on a hexagon cardigan too. We're twins. Um, yeah, welcome in, Quibbly. If I'm saying your name wrong, please let me know. Your name is really cool, and from what I can see, your picture is really cool. But I have really bad eyesight, so I don't really know what's happening, if I'm being honest. Um, but uh, lost my train of thought. Twins, we're twins. Yes. Honestly, it's funny because like I watched well, I guess like three movies in a row that were about twins. I watched Twitches, which is about twin witches, with Tia and Tamara Mowry, and I watched Twitches too because obviously I did that last night, and then before, um, what what was it? Oh no! And then last night I also watched Gravity Falls, and that was with Prince. Yeah, please ask anything LGBTQ related. We're uneducated, or we like to talk about that and make it. Um, the last time you said it is correct. It's from to be the Quibbly. Okay, cool. Yeah, please. Specifically gay. Yeah, absolutely. Please feel free to ask away. As long as you're respectful, willing to learn, we're gonna be willing to talk about it because we just feel like if we can, you know, have good conversations, then the world would be a little bit better place. I know Gravity Falls is so good. I'm obsessed with that show. I'm hoping that my wife and I can finally do our Gravity Falls costumes this year because I want to be, even though it's kind of weird because they're siblings, but we're just not thinking about that. But Dipper and Mabel, because I would love to crochet a Mabel sweater. I've never made a full sweater, but like that would be the one that would be the best. But yeah, go ahead and ask your question. Okay, go into lurk mode. Yep, understand. Gotta get those chores done. Chores suck. Someone in my friend group, we are both pan/gay, and I kind of have a crush on him, and I don't know how to ask/how to do it. Oh, yeah, that is always challenging. I would say, like, for me, I'll just tell you what I would do for me, because I'm not ever like, I've never been the like, I like you, like, do you want to date kind of person. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. I've kind of been like, let things fall where they may. But a little bit of like a breadcrumber, in like the sense that like I will like leave like hints that I'm into you, but I will not say it, so that you have like free reign of like, and you don't feel pressured to like make a choice. So I will totally speak to you from my perspective. However, someone else in this group might have something better to say, because I think, especially like when I met my wife, we were friends, and so I was really nervous of losing the friendship. And I think that, so for me, I let other people know that I was into this person. But I think that, you kind of have to look at how do you behave like with your just like friends who you're actually like just friends with, and see how that changes when you are with the person that you're interested in. So um, like, how would you want to behave if you were in a relationship with them? If you were like, whatever. Because I think that really makes a difference. Um, and then, like, you could, I don't know. Like, I'm just not good. I'm really not the person to ask. Like, I'm really sorry. And if anyone wants to chime in on this, I would gladly take the back seat on this one, because I'm a very like, I am so like, I'm not gonna be the person who goes and asks them. But I think that, I would look for, I would look like, are they showing any signs that they're interested in you? That would be a good question. Are they showing signs where they kind of like favor spending time with you over other people? Or are they kind of like casually like on the fringe, and they like kind of barely notice you? Like, that's a bad way to say it, but like, you know what I mean? Like, are they kind of like oblivious to like, you know, you, like, I'm not like a very forward person in that, because I've always felt like a little bit like, before I transitioned, like, I never wanted to be that person who was like made people feel, I am still not that person who wants to make people feel uncomfortable, and like they don't have like an out, or they have to like lie to get like, away from me or something. Like, that was just really gross to me. So I don't know. I'm just not that person. So I'm sorry. I wish I could give you a better answer than that. I mean, that's honestly just kind of maybe some of the worst advice I've ever given. Um, but yeah, I think that like, look for signs that they're vibing with you too, because that will give you an inkling, and then maybe set up something that's like not a date, but is like a hangout with just you two. So like, coffee dates. I don't like movie dates, because you don't really talk, you don't really get to know each other any better. You're just like in a dark room together, and like, whatever. But like, I don't know, like, if you both love like bookstores, like the kind of stuff that like you go out, like mini golf, like I don't give a shit what it is. Like, those types of dates, um, dates where like they could be considered a date, or they could be considered just friend stuff, because then it kind of gives the person a little bit of a like, what would it be like to date me? This is what it would be like to date me. And then um and then it kind of like, you can read the situation a little bit more accurately, because you can see if they interpreted it as a date or just as like a friendly hangout. Because if you're like, hey, I like I want to go play. Uh, I was wondering if you want to go play mini golf sometime, and if they're like, sure, can we invite this person too? Like that's for me, like that's one of the signs like they're not really seeing you as like a romantic interest. But if they're like, sure, then maybe it's like, okay, well, they're a little bit flirty. If they flirt on, the mini golf green or whatever, then, maybe that's an inkling that they like you. Or they might be interested and then maybe go on more of these non-date dates, or then maybe they'll become date dates. Maybe they won't. So that's how I would do it, but I am the least direct person in the whole wide world. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm not more help. Um, we have, and I'm glad that yes, exactly. Yeah. Friendship is really important. And I have to say that, um, while the fear of ruining a friendship is very real, I do strongly believe that the best relationships do come out of relationships where you were friends first. Like I strongly believe that. And I spoke earlier, like I'm having some trouble in my own relationship right now, but like we're 10 years in, but we were friends first, and um, that made dating so much easier, because I already knew who she was. I already knew the type of person she was. It wasn't like a blind date. It wasn't like a Tinder swipe. It was like I knew who this person was. I knew the good, the bad, and the ugly, and so it wasn't like a shock. It wasn't like a cold plunge into dating. It was just like that was easy. So while there is that fear, I would say that the pros of dating a friend, if both people are into it, greatly outweigh the cons. But that's coming from someone who did date and marry their best friend. So take, highly, highly biased. Okay, very young. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, everyone's gonna be judgmental. Um you can't be liked by everyone. I really hate to be the bearer of bad news. Um, uh, but if you do your best and this person doesn't like you, as like romantically, but they don't find you to be an a-hole, um, then um, then I don't see a way that it could go bad. Um, But the thing is, a lot of relationships when you're that age, friendships and relationships, romantic relationships, they're a little turbulent. They're pretty turbulent, actually. They're severely turbulent. So, you know, I wish I could go back and tell my 13-year-old self that like the friends that I had, were gonna change dramatically, like week over week, month over month, and that would be something that I would have to learn to deal with. But I think it's only something that you can live and you can experience yourself. Um, if you like someone, um, you know, like you can do something about it, or you can sit there, um, and not do anything about it. But what happens if you don't do anything about it? Are you going to be sad? Are you going to get over it? Are you going to beat yourself up? Are you going to be jealous? Think about that too. Like, what happens if you don't? You know, maybe write like a pros and cons list of, dating versus not dating this person or trying to date. Because, like, worst they can say is no, right? I mean, like, maybe they're like a little weird for a little while. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will say that 13 is it's such a difficult age, because it emotions are so high. They were for me. I'm speaking very personally. I will not speak for you. Um, but I'm glad that you have found a community where you feel safe, where you feel like you can talk to people about who you are, what you're interested in, what you're passionate about, and like I said, first of all, who you are. Um, very very happy for you. Um, and people who make you feel safe. Like the fact that you feel safe enough to do this is a tremendous win for me, from my point of view. Um, so it's all about what you know, if you're so afraid that you might lose part of your community by doing this, I would really, really question whether or not um, it was this this like was just like a crush that could go away shortly, or if it's like, a big thing. Sometimes these emotions are really big and you can't ignore them. So I would just listen to yourself. But the only constants in this world is change. Your friend group's gonna change a little bit by bit, or big swings. 13, oh my gosh, that was chaotic. I would not trade places for you for $1 million. But that's from that's from a very old queer and trans person. I'm not very old, but I'm much older than you. And for me, everything felt very big, very life or death at that age. And I had the fortune of the people around me. Like everything was kind of like in like a short term. um I didn't know how to tell him. Well, if you mess it up. I mean, you can use that very loosely. If things don't go the way that you plan, I find that teenagers have kind of like a little bit of a short term memory about these types of things. And so, like, give it a couple weeks and people won't even remember why they were kind of feeling that way. If they do, then, like, whatever. Like, they can get a life because, you know, you got bigger things to do, right? So, I'm sorry that this is troubling you. Um, but trust me, like, whatever you do, like, if you're meant to date this person, then you'll date them. And if it doesn't work out, it's not a big deal. If you like, honestly, in queer like friend groups, inner dating is kind of the thing. Like everybody does it. So you're not the first queer person to be interested in someone in their friend group. And yeah, sometimes it's like not ideal. Sometimes it is, and there's like that couple in that group. But it's very easy to find someone that you finally feel something in common with, and then you feel like you can talk to them about anything, and then you're like, "Whoa, this is crush. This is exciting. I get to feel this and like have that like that vibe. I get to vibe with them like that. Um, it's really exciting. Like, let yourself have fun with it because you deserve it. You know, why not? That's my point of view. It's like just have fun because it's cool. It's really cool. when I was 15, so I was in high school. I started the Gay Straight Alliance in my school. We were a very small, like in a small kind of like rural-ish community. Lots of people did not like queer people, and so starting the Gay Straight Alliance. That's okay, Leather. And so it was a challenge, but like I dated a lot of people who were in the GSA, but it was because like I wanted to explore dating and I wanted to meet people and I wanted to start finding romance because I was like a romantic at heart. I still am, and I you know I I dated a lot of people that were in my friend group, and like unless it I don't think any of it ended really ugly. If it did, I don't remember it, and you know we stayed friends. Maybe it was like a little awkward for a little while, but we got over it. You know, everybody got over it, and we just kept on going. I think that's kind of what you do because like you still have to stick together because it's important for us as a community to have each other's backs. So I don't know if that helps at all. Hi, Jenny. Thank you for coming in. I am working on the hexagon cardigan that I was working on yesterday. So I worked on the back panel. I finished the sleeve, and now I'm finishing the back panel and moving on to the bottom length and making sure that that is 26 inches because that's the measurement that I had for my original cardigan. So yep, I'm just doing that. I don't know how people do blankets, honestly. Like this gets so cumbersome. I'm like, oh, how do I do that? So to keep lead, did that help? Was it helpful? Okay. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to be helpful. So yeah, I'm just working on this cardigan. Once I get the length for this down, I will move to the other half. So I started it yesterday, and this is how far I got. Now you might be looking at it and be like, "This is all like weird shaped." I'm pretty sure you did it wrong. Which it's always possible to have done it wrong, especially with this particular one, to have too many sides or few sides. But if you fold it right, it starts to look like a cardigan pretty immediately. And it looks like a little teddy bear cardigan, which is so cute. Um, but but as you build the sides up, these all get larger and larger and larger. So it just becomes a big L. And so this is the side that's going to be for the intersex pride flag. And then I'm going to do a circular patch for the purple circle that's within the intersex pride flag. Okay, welcome back. But yeah, so this is like a very so I will admit I do talk about adult subjects sometimes. I know it doesn't it look so cute. It's so tiny. It does look like a little teddy bear cardigan. I also cuss like a sailor, so please beware. They look like baby cardigans. Yeah, I mean honestly, you can just scale it up or scale it down as much as you want. It's a it's it's a It's a cardigan for ants. What is that, a cardigan for ants? It needs to be at least 3 times the size. But this is my first time making a hexagon cardigan in quite a while, so it's actually pretty fun. I don't know. I've just, I've managed to, I feel like if you make a lot of mistakes throughout your life, you learn, you can pass on some wisdom about like, hey, do as I say, not as I did, because I didn't always do things the right way, but you know, I I feel like I learned a lot along the way, and it's important to feel like you have a sense of community, especially being young, because it can feel very lonely. Hey, Lydia, welcome in. Wow, we got a big old party going on up in here. I'm excited. Um, and I feel like that's like something that has been strong throughout my life is supporting the sense of community that we all need to feel, whether or not we're in the LGBTQ plus community or not. Feeling like you're part of a community, not feeling alone, I think is so essential in positive mental health outcomes and also in our social like development. Because when we do feel alone and we aren't, it's made with one weight roving. Oh my gosh, burgundy. That sounds so gorgeous. I love roving, but one weight roving makes me like, ugh, pass. Um, just because I feel like I would just like rip right through that. Um, Although I do have some like, I have some 6 weight roving that I'm going to separate into like 5 weight roving. Oh no, Nifty, it's fine. Cushioning up a storm. Ooh, I like that. Your laptop died mid-sentence. No! Ugh, laptops are so finicky. I'm like rotating my phone charger around because my vape, my earpod, my earplugs, and my phone all use the same charger. So I'm like, what needs charging? This. But especially when I'm streaming, my laptop will be around for like 5 minutes um, before it dies. Um, no clue about the fiber. That sounds really interesting. I can't wait to see it. I bet that's going to be gorgeous. So this is not roving, but I did find some really gorgeous. I thought it was charging. I hate that when you're like, you plug it in, but it's not like every like millimeter in that it needs to be. And you're just like, and then your laptop dies. I hate when that happens because it happens to me a lot. um, uh, I was gonna say something. I don't remember. Oh, I did post a video. So I was I had to go pick up some yarn from Joanne, and I was going to use this coupon that can only be used in store. And so I wasn't like looking for this specific yarn. And knit and crochet, like they always have a bunch of beautiful things, but I don't want to get hooked on something that like they're going to like discontinue in like a second, and then it's usually very expensive. They don't have great sales on it, blah 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 blah. But I saw something that absolutely I could not ignore. I posted a video on it. I think I called it like a very small but exciting haul or something like that. So if you want to check that out, I'm very excited about this yarn. And it's the kind of yarn that I don't think I would make like a lot of things out of it. It's just like it's specialty for me, if that says anything. So if you want to check that out, I posted that the 26th, 2 days ago. Okay. I need to start decorating for Halloween, which means I need to start decorating my apartment for just like, living in. But it's hard because like with such an open space, it's like I know that once I start decorating, it's gonna be like it like I love Halloween so much that it's so easy for me to just go way overboard, and I really don't have the budget this year to do a bunch of like purchased things. So it would be like I'm gonna have to make a lot of stuff, um, or like whatever. Um, and then also there's something nice about like how clean this apartment feels versus like what I moved out of. Um, uh, because I lived in a basement before, so it's just like it feels nice to have like the walls are like a really nice like light blue, and like so I feel like the more stuff I put up, like the more like cramped and like small it'll feel. So I'm kind of just trying to figure out how I'm gonna decorate for Halloween and like do my like yearly decorations. Like I have my altar where I have like my cauldron with like my hooks in it, cauldrons with hooks in it, and then I also have like all of my stuff. Oh, thank you so much, Crystal. Um, and I also like have like my Florida water, like my like candles, my sage, my like abalone shell, like my tarot cards, all of that stuff. Um, I have like that set up. I have my yarn. The kitchen island, I just haven't really been able to figure out how I'm gonna work with that because I always have projects going on. So it's like if I move a project off of my island, it's so that I can put another project directly onto it. So it's like, uh, it's like that. You know? But I don't really know. So I was going to do my theme this year. I was going to do two themes and just like switch them off. So first, I was gonna do the Swamp Witch, which I think would be fun to do. I don't really know how I would do it in this space. I guess like because I don't really have like a lot of flat surfaces to put things on, so it would be like a lot of things on the wall. But like just having like different animals. I know we talked about the rat. Crystal was very gracious in giving me a wonderful rat um, uh, uh, pattern that I still haven't done yet, but I have the yarn for it, and I can't wait to um, do. But that's very Swamp Witch, and then just like maybe another like shawl or cardigan. I think a cardigan would be nice actually, or some kind of sweater situation. Um, you know, I feel like I've been really hesitant to make wearables for me for so long because of like the sizing situation. because I'm not going to be this size forever, but they keep pushing back my surgery date more and more. And so um, I feel like I just can't like keep not living my life because I might have surgery. I might never have surgery, you know? Okay, so, okay. So there's the long back, and we're going to just give it a quick measure. Don't think this is quite long enough. I don't remember what I was saying that you're saying me too, but my brain is like so like I can't even explain just like how like ugh. But Johan's been having some good deals lately, which I'm very, very thankful for as a group fish. Oh yeah. Oh, you're talking about the rat, I think. Um, but yeah, so Swamp Witch, and like sizing, making stuff for me. So this is the Big Twist living yarn. This is the color Life, I think. It's the Trans Pride colors. It's anti-pilling. It's a 4 weight. It's very, very soft. Um, my only complaint is that it doesn't have totally as much white as I'd like. So occasionally I'll go in with just like an anti-pilling white. This is basic stitch. And I'll go in and I'll just like put a couple clusters of the white in just to make sure that there's enough white represented in the flag colors. So for this cardigan, so this is a commission from Etsy. For this cardigan, I am doing half trans pride and half inner pride. Um, did it get changed again? Did what get changed again? The yarn? Like it still has white in it, but if that's what you're talking about, but it just doesn't have like a whole lot of it, and so I like to make sure that it's just I like to add a little bit more just to punch it up a little bit personally. But that's all of the pride colors that do have white in it. White is kind of the the, the one that gets kind of the least play, but that's actually the easiest to go and add some more into. So I don't mind too much because it's an easy addition. Oh, yeah, it did get changed again. Yeah, it's not. I don't even have a date now. I don't even have a date. I've been trying to find a new surgeon actually because I'm fucking tired of these people. Um, I'm trying to find someone at Duke because I'm so and I've been trying to like advocate for myself, and people are like, "Well, you're a mental health patient, so you can go fuck yourself." And I don't even have a date right now. I guess there's a lot of things that I haven't told you all. So I there are some top surgeons period, in the gender affirmation space who will not operate on you if you and please for my sake just go along with hearing this. Don't be like, hey, that's messed up. Because I know it's messed up and I'm feeling every inch of it or every piece of it. But if you have been hospitalized due to your mental health within 12 months of your surgery, you will not be able to, to get your surgery. So I was hospitalized in March or April, and I was also hospitalized in June. So I was supposed to have my pre-op in June, and I was going to. But my surgery, my second surgery date was supposed to be in March, and in February I called and I was like, "Hey, I called and I moved it because I knew I wasn't in a place to get surgery. I know I emotionally wasn't in a place, so I thought that would show that I would be able to like make those executive decisions myself. I moved it, no big deal. Moved it to July, and then I ended up getting hospitalized. Um, and hospitalizing myself. And then I, so the date came where I knew that I was too close to my hospitalization to get the July date. And they called and canceled on me, like literally the day I was going to call and tell them that I couldn't do it. And then I kept trying to say, like, hey, this like 12 months that you have, like, that's not actually the standard. Like, you are making it up. Yeah. But, I mean, it's just like, it's hard because, like, it's, there are the people who are doing these surgeries, like, are unfortunately, like, not equipped to deal with severe mental illness, and so the only the only like thing that they know to look out for is depression and things related to gender dysphoria. But my hospitalizations do not have anything to do with gender dysphoria. I'm just a bipolar person. But if I can't go 12 months without being hospitalized, which I have not been able to do since I've had my concussion, I will never be able to have my surgery, according to them. And while that causes me a lot of distress, they're like, well, too damn bad. And so it's like, I don't really know. I don't really have a choice in the matter. And it sucks, but I'm trying to find a doctor who's more willing to understand that like the position that I'm in is impossible. That that is not it's not going to benefit me at all. And telling me that I'll never be able to get my surgery is actually not going to help my mental health, believe it or not. So it sucks, but I'm trying to work through it. It's just, you can say that the system's flawed and things suck all you want, but nothing's changing. So I gotta deal with it. And like, there's a part of me that understands, but it doesn't make it any easier because it's still a huge barrier, um, and a huge lack of them trying to understand the position that I'm in. So yeah. I'm gonna turn on the light, maybe a fan. It's getting a little toasty in here because I'm crocheting up a storm, just like Nifty. So Nikki, last time I spoke to you, you were working on, what are you working on? What is everyone working on? Let me just ask that question. What is everyone working on? Crystal's working on a hexagon cardigan. But I would love to hear what everyone's working on. What kind of yarn are you working with? All of those types of things. Um, I did get cleared by a psychiatrist, and they don't care. I see my psychiatrist every 2 weeks. They don't care. You can't. It's like that's what like is crazy about like the narrative around um like how easy it is to get these surgeries. Like it's not easy. Fletcher's and working on tote bag made of 13 3D flower granny. Uh, ooh, cool. Finishing making a baby dress for your niece. Oh. So there was a challenge, and I think it's still going on. I posted on my community page a while back, but there are two pages that are doing something. Let me let me find it. So it was a competition. So it's Crochet Combat July August 2024. Um, so I'm gonna share. How do I? No. Okay. And so it's cool. So I haven't thought about this, and you want to just do a little side project. I think this would be really really cool. I had an idea for it that I thought was pretty exciting, but I wasn't able to do it just based on the time that I had. Because I'm clearly very, very busy. Which, is good because sometimes I'm just like incredibly, I wouldn't say incredibly bored. I just, I'm not as like motivated and like have to do projects on like a specific timeline like I do now, right now. So um, if you want to do that challenge, so that is, let me see. So that's Crochet Combat 2024. Um, so that is Sherry Kay loves yarn and crochet, and Michelle's mosaics and more. And so they are doing a challenge, and they each kind of contributed, their own ideas to the challenge. So part of it was doing a back to school project, and the other part was doing it in summer colors. So you would get like points awarded, and it's really interesting how they set it up. And I was so excited because I was really excited to do a project. And maybe after this, after the entries are done, I'll say what I had planned to do. But I was really excited to try something that was very different and new for me, and freehand a project like that. So but no time for that right now. But there's always a lot of contests going on. I would say that I feel like we're seeing a little bit of a resurgence of contests and things like that. Would you all agree on some of the channels that you've watched? Seeing more people doing like contests and like kind of themed crochet alongs and stuff like that. For me, it felt like those kind of fell off the map for a little while, and now I feel like I'm seeing them again, which is really exciting because it's nice to feel like, okay, well, I gotta like actually like work on this. It's not, it's not just I can work on whatever, whenever, and what, it kind of gives you a little bit of a deadline, kind of motivates you to work a little bit faster and things like that, and maybe pushes your creativity into a spot that you um, wouldn't normally have it. So Nightbot is apparently dropping a lot of stuff. So yes, did a contest for the month of August. Oh shit, I didn't see that. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to enter it, but maybe that's why you were like, when I said that I wanted to do that contest, you're like, you'll do it. You're like, I got my own contest to do it. Oh man, I haven't even seen that one. Oh, I'm sorry, Crystal. It sucks. I'm the worst friend ever. Okay, let's see. Yeah, but so do I. That doesn't mean. Okay, let's see. I feel like I never get a notification, but I always see your shorts. Ooh, the cluster mesh stitch. I did see that, and it looks so yummy. If I didn't already have the mesh for the Swamp Witch, I would do this mesh because it looks good. And also, that yarn looks like oil spill. It's so good. You mentioned it, so I mentioned it. Okay, we focus on me enough. Honestly, we focus on me enough. I'm good. Was it the Battle of the Stitches or? Because I think it commented when you were like crocheting by the pool. I think maybe I misunderstood what it was. Because I thought you were participating in another challenge. Yeah, it does really look like leaves. Yeah, I'll show you what I did for my Swamp Witch one. Because I'm sure some of you have seen it, but it's been a while. Okay, so this is in the crochet stitches book that I have. What's up with that bat pillow? So I got it at Home Goods or Marshalls like last year. It came in a set of two, and it's very soft. It's knit, and it's awesome. I love it. So no matter how I'm feeling, I have two, but I have so many pillows. This one's soft. So this is a variation of what they called in their book the crazy picot stitch. And I wanted it to look a little bit more like a ghillie cloth or whatever that is, that like hunters have. And so I just like added more picots inside of it. So this is what it looks like. So it's very textured, and it's also like, because it's been stored in a very weird way, it's also like stretched out in some parts, which is very interesting because that's not the intention, but it kind of adds to the organic look, I guess. But it's like it just kind of looks like a little ghillie cloth thing, if that's what it's called. I don't really know. I'm in the South, so I should know these things, but I don't. But yeah, so I have that, and then I have like a little like swamp witch like hood type thing. And then I want another shawl to like layer up shawls because I feel like swamp witches will have multiple shawls. I feel like that's how it should be. Looks like brambles. Ooh, what's brambles? Is that a stitch? But yeah, so it has like, so what I would do is instead of just like having the one picot, I would just like add picots around it so that it just had that like texture. It just made me, I fell in love with it. This is like almost 3 skeins of like Big Twist value. I made this when I was in treatment last year. Or like the net. Oh, okay. Yeah, like something like a hunter would use or something. I just thought that it would be like appropriate for the. I'm like trying to pat for my hook, and I'm like, it looks straightforward. It's right there. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. Maybe I'll have to do a stitch tutorial for it because I did usually. So like I know that like I've done stitch tutorials, but actually, and this I'll say like believe it or not, like anyone gives a shit, but like most of the stitch tutorials that I've done, I've actually modified, like even if it's very slightly, like with the alpine stitch, like when I learned it, like it would be like chain 3 for the turning chain, and I would be like, that doesn't look right. I'm gonna do chain 2. So that's like small change, so it like feels right for like what I'm doing. So I really like modifying existing patterns, and when I did this one originally, I just like didn't feel like it was like, if you say that you're gonna be called the crazy Pico stitch, you better give me a lot of Picos. And I just kept adding them. And it worked out super fast, but I did use a ton of yarn just to make it the size. I'm not used to making shawls, so it's like I've never, like I always buy like the 3 balls that I like talked to you about, but then like I never actually use that much yarn, so I was like, whoa, this is different. I actually ran out of that color when I was in treatment. Almost had Mel send me that color, and then I was like, nah, I'll just work on something else. Okay, so here's a question. So, I know a lot of us crochet, and whether or not you sell your crochet, this is totally not related. But have you made something for someone, whether it was a commission, or a gift or something like that that they requested, and they requested it, so that's an important aspect. But when you made it, you thought it was like the ugliest thing you've ever made, and you like did not want credit for it. I asked that because when I was in that same treatment center, someone wanted leg warmers, which I had never made before, but I was like, I can make leg warmers easy peasy. Like I can like that really doesn't take what you chained and how many rows you did would be cool. Yeah, so like the Alpine stitch, which is the stitch of the month. So like the Nightbot will come in and eventually talk about the stitch of the month. So that one I did at the end. I was like, hey, I modified this from to 2 chains because the one before had 3 chains and it looked kind of weird. And I showed that. So usually I'll like show. Well, sometimes I'll show, but I feel like I don't want to take. It's weird because there's so many stitch tutorials and like if I wanted to find a stitch tutorial for the moss stitch, right? First of all, that is something that I really struggle with. Oh, I don't claim this project as my own. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. I feel like it's really hard to say that you claim a stitch as your own. Like, I know that there's always some like drama. I like there's that one like drama like yarn community drama YouTuber. I haven't watched anything they've put out in a while. I try not to watch really most of what they do. Sometimes it gets recommended and I'm like, hey, what's up? I never know who they're talking about. But like about like designs being copied. But like when you're talking about exact stitches being copied, I don't really know um, how that could be copied. What do you all think about that? Like intellectual property when it comes to stitches. Now, let's say you did like this really elaborate stitch that was the combination of like 8 stitches that ultimately was just like one stitch. And I'm not talking about a design. Like let's say you designed a granny square and you used a bunch of different stitches. That's one thing. That's your IP. But like just a stitch, I feel like that is harder to be like no one has ever done this stitch before. But I obviously would never want to like step on anyone's toes and be like, yeah, I did this. But like it's kind of like being like a tutorial for a single crochet. It's like how many tutorials for a single crochet are out there? Well, like no one's out there being like, hello, I invented this single crochet. you know, but there are plenty of tutorials for it, which is really helpful because then people who are learning how to do single crochet can find the video that works best for them. So I don't know. I feel like stitches are a lot harder to be like, like to pledge like as your intellectual property. Even like the big channels that like do stitches primarily, like Nastasia, I'll like I'm not calling her out. I'm just saying like I know her from like a lot of the stitches she does, stitch tutorials, um, especially her shorts. Like, like she didn't invent a lot of those things. She just made them really popular. Like or like she helped remind people that they existed. So like the strawberry stitch, like she didn't invent the strawberry stitch. Um, According to copyright, we don't own stitch combinations, only the patterns we create from them when they're specifically designed, like I chained this much and did this step. Interesting. Okay. So by changing, if I changed, hmm. So let's say I have a stitch that's a 4-row, well, like the Alpine stitch. I'm going to use the Alpine stitch because that was the most recent and it was a 4-row repeat. But that's the stitch, right? The 4 rows are the repeats, and I changed how many chains were on it. I don't know. This is so interesting. Okay, bye, Leather. Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, okay. See, Crystal, you know everything. And if I get sued, no, I'm just kidding. But I always find it's a little interesting when like unless you truly do something that's like outrageously different, it's always really interesting when people are like, that's my pattern. Because like I've seen so many things that look like almost identical. Like when people, like if people try to like imagine if someone tried to be like the hexagon cardigan, with grannies, like with granny clusters is mine. Like imagine like that would be so odd to me. Um, but there are some things that like, because like I feel like if someone could just like glance at it and do it without your pattern, then it's going to be really hard for you to prove that it's like that, like it's like undeniable that I don't know. It's so weird. Sometimes I hurt my brain thinking about things, so I feel like I'm hurting my brain thinking about this. So I'm just like, you are watching my brain get deep fried in real time. What's really interesting, so both the Big Twist Living yarn and the Lion brand Basic Stitch are anti-pilling yarns. And what's interesting is that right before I worked on this cardigan, I worked on a hat that used just Basic Stitch. And I was like, Basic Stitch, it's such a reliable yarn, very easy, blah, 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 blah. But then I started working with this yarn, and this yarn does not split. It's very, it's very, it's just, it's solid, right? And um, then I went to use the Basic Stitch to start the Basic Stitch. Oh my gosh, I just can't stop thinking about teddy bear little babies. Um, uh, uh, and I felt like the Lion brand was like so splitty, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this splits so much, which I didn't feel like when I did the hat. But now going from this yarn to this yarn, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a little bit of a nightmare to work with. Um, so hopefully I'll get over that bump and or hump or something. And I forgot what I was saying. My brain is deep fried. Let's see, we've been on here 2 hours. It feels like I've been on here like 6 hours. And yesterday I was actually online for 6 hours. And then I want to watch my movie. I don't know what I'm gonna watch for 100 Nights of Halloween tonight. I watched Twitches last night. I watched Scream before. Um, I couldn't. So Scary Movie is only available if you pay for it, which, like, honestly, like, if I was gonna pay for a movie, that would be the one. But I just don't think I'm gonna do it because I don't need to. But that is just, it's so iconic, so iconic. Ooh, work the edging of this cardigan. I like what's really interesting is that like because I like when I first made this cardigan, I I didn't really do like any like I just like I didn't do like cuffs. I didn't do yeah, I watched Twitches too because like Tia and Tamara, like live for them. And then it was so good. We watch it every year. It just never stops being good. Um Go Twitches. Go Twitches. Yeah, so I watched both of those yesterday. I started streaming at like 7 o'clock, and then I stopped streaming. I think at like 1 a.m. It was so long, but it was good. Um, they have True Blood, but that's a show. Um, I wish they could give me like a little bit more in the genre. Just give me like the Halloween collection. But it's not quite close enough where they're like, here's some Halloween movies. Did I finish Wednesday? I did. I did finish Wednesday, and I actually really liked it. Like, I felt like the turning point for me was actually the point where I stopped watching it before. Like, if I had gone just one more episode before, like, I think I would have kept watching it. But the first half was a little bit brutal in, like, just like how. Um, you know, is that Reba McEntire? It is Reba McEntire. The Hammer. Newly appointed judge makes sure justice is served when her sister becomes the prime suspect in the suspicious death of dot dot dot. Reba, work. Okay, sorry. Suck it. I hadn't watched. I've only seen like maybe 2.5 seasons or so of True Blood. I would want to watch more, but like when I met Mel, like Mel loved True Blood, and then she also had like a literal glass bottle of like the True Blood stuff, like uh, from like Barnes and Noble or something, like the drink. Um, None too. Oh hell no, I'm not. No, pass. Hard pass. Hard pass. Um, Kim Possible, love her. Queen and Shigo, ultimate like crush. Okay, yeah, it's not giving me any like. Yeah, I would not do well. I would literally my functions below here would cease to work. Um, so I know that there is one documentary, I believe it is called Faces of Death that came out in like the 90s or 2000s or something or 80s that is supposed to be like pretty shocking and like was pretty like whoa. I don't know how talkative I would be during it, but I've heard it's very good. Um, Faces of Death, because I think it's like actually talking about like what happens when like people die and stuff. Faces of Death. Ooh, the Mummy. The Mummy counts, right? Oh, 1978. That's a lot older than I expected. It's on Roku. Okay, so coroner shows scenes of gruesome deaths from around the world, both real and reenacted. But then, do I want to watch The Mummy? Yes, always. R.I.P.D. is on here, which isn't the best movie, but does have Ryan Reynolds, who is beautiful. Let's see. Brendan Fraser in The Mummy is also quite delicious. Actually, everyone in The Mummy. Why is everyone in The Mummy hot? Things we may never know. It's available for free on Tubi. I have Tubi.
The number 13 original Italian sliced right in front of you.
Stop. Stop. Jesus. The Mummy counts. It's a creature feature. And, it's got, an all-star cast, so how can we not? I was gonna go with, like, slashers. I wonder, but, okay, it's hard because it's really hard to keep track of, like, all of these ideas that I have. Okay, so, and then it's like some things will, like, be available one day and then not available the other. The Mummy. One of the only slasher ones I won't watch is Nightmare on Elm Street. I wonder if Little Shop of Horrors is on. I've never seen all of that, believe it or not. Friday the 13th. That's a good one. Never seen that. Let's see. Texas Chainsaw. I don't mind gore. In fact, I actually think it's really hilarious. But because I love makeup so much, I focus on the makeup of it. So, like, that's kind of why. And then I've seen Halloween. Wait, is it Halloween? Where with Jason? Is that the series with Jason? Or it's Friday the 13th, the one with Jason. Wait, no, I didn't see the one with Jason. I saw the one with Michael Myers. No, Friday the 13th has Michael. Oh my gosh, I'm so confused. Ugh. See, this is how you know that I don't really watch horror movies. Friday the 13th, Halloween. I think Friday the 13th has Jason, and I haven't seen Friday the 13th. Coraline does count, but I couldn't find it. But if I find it as it gets closer, I will watch it. I really did want to watch that. Yeah, I looked for that like 2 days ago. Halloween is Jason, I think. But like, yeah, because in the first one, Jason's not in the first one. Spoiler alert. So I feel like, yeah, continuing in like the slasher thing. And then when I was going through Shudder, there was there's like a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies that are like social media influencers and like stuff like that. And I'm like, is that like the current like version of like the 90s, 2000s slasher movies? So I'm like, maybe that's where we'll go from the slasher movies. I don't know. Also, I tried to find I watched World War Z. I tried to find Resident Evil. I had to pay for that. Zombie Tidal Wave, which is a sci-fi original movie. I don't have that apparently. Night of the Living Dead. I did watch that. That was hilarious. Also, really sad. Really sad. Faces of Death, Rapid Grannies. I did not watch that. I tried to watch it. It was so offensive. House on Haunted Hill. Hashtag Chad Gets the Axe is one of those like influencer ones. Misery. That one, definitely more suspense. Kathy Bates is incredible. The social media. Okay, ooh, they're creepy. I think this one's more like an influencer, less um less like average person, and more like, I think like this person's like filming all of these murders happening or something, like a vlogger or something, like unrelatable. But Misery is good. There's one called Sissy, Shutter. There's Psycho Gorman. I don't know what that is. Bad Moon on Shutter. Coneheads, I thought would be fun if we went and do like a couple alien movies. Technically, they're aliens. Shaun of the Dead, could not find. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. That's a good one, which I didn't watch for a long time, but it's very good. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. It's on Roku. Oh hell yeah! Ooh, we should watch that. That's gonna go. That's a good one for tonight. Haunted Mansion. That would be on Disney. Predator. Okay, so Coraline's already on here. Donnie Darko. It's. I mean, it's kind of like. Would that be a Halloween movie? I don't know. I heard. I saw it on a list of like, if you are an elder emo, you should watch these. And I was like, ugh. But then I saw like Donnie Darko, and I was like, yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. Like I haven't seen Donnie Darko, but anyways. Then for creature features, I have Piranha. There's one called Alligator, The Evil Dead. There's Ash versus the Evil Dead, which I don't know if we'll classify as a sequel, but I've heard that Ash versus the Evil Dead is really good. Jennifer's Body, so kind of in like that. That's like demons, which I'm not going to get into that territory much because I don't fuck around with that. But I've seen that movie enough, and sexual awakening moments. I was already awoken at that point, but it's still cool. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I don't love this movie, but I've only seen it once, and I had really high Langoliers. So it's been hard to track down some of his things. I did watch Pet Cemetery, a Sharknado. Ooh, yes. I don't have sci-fi. So any sci-fi original movie, I don't have access to, unfortunately. Uh, I've watched all of the Sharknadoes. They are like, what was it, like Sharknado 4 or 6, or like the Terror Read? Oh my gosh, it's Langoliers. Okay, I'll look that up. If it's really scary, I might not watch it because I'm a little baby, but I'm trying to watch more. But I know Killer Clowns from Outer Space has a good cult classic, like cult following. So I might watch that. Again, I think I had really high expectations for it, and now going into it is so bad it's good. Yeah, it's definitely that. I love movies that are so bad they're good. There's a bunch of really good sci-fi original movies that are so bad they're good, like Zombie Tidal Wave, like I talked about. Um, there's one called Dam Sharks, but it's like Beaver Dam, and where like these sharks realize that they can like build a dam out of human body parts, and it just has some of the most like ridiculous like scenes. It's so good. Um, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. If you have not seen it, it is very good. It's really cool how they set it up, um, because you expect it to like go um, one way, and then it really just is not what you anticipate. So it's really fun. Not scary at all, but it sets it up like it's gonna be scary. Definitely a comedy. Yeah, I was gonna put it on there because I was gonna put the original It. Snakes on a Plane. Honestly, I think it would count, but I don't love snakes, and I don't want to fear snakes when I go on a plane, if I ever go on a plane again. So I don't think I can do that for my own mental health. But I do think it counts, and I would love to see Samuel L. Jackson use that iconic line. But I did look for it. It's not free, unfortunately. It's hard finding movies. But Killer Clowns, I'm willing to give another try. Scream, we did watch the other night. Happy Death Day, I think I might be able to do, although that does look pretty scary. But I feel like you get enough from like the advertisement that like you, I don't like jump scares, and I feel like that one might be a little heavy on the jump scares. I feel like Snakes on a Plane will also be very heavy on the jump scares. Then I think it was Brandon who suggested Night of the Comet. I haven't looked that one up yet. The Birds classic, Alfred Hitchcock. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Elvira is a queen among us mere mortals. Five Nights at Freddy's, I thought would be fun to do something a little bit different. Um, uh, I wonder if isn't there a Silent Hill movie? I know that there are some animated movies, but I thought that there was a live action. What's not free? The movie It. Yeah, but because I know enough about like the movie, I figured if I knew enough about it, that it might not be as scary. Arcadian on Shutter. It looks good. I think it has Nick Cage in it. The Walking Dead. I didn't really want to watch shows. No Way Up. It's got sharks. I just wrote No Way Up. AMC Plus sharks. So I've got like 50 different. I've got so many freaking ideas. But I'll crochet for a little bit longer. Um, this one's so hard to see through. Usually it's a little bit easier. This one glows in the dark and it's spiky. Um, oh, I watched Renfield. So I did vampire section, and I watched Renfield, and I did watch Warm Bodies. When I did the zombie movies. Yeah, Renfield was fun. Um, it was actually surprisingly hard to find available vampire movies, which I was a little surprised about. But yeah, Nicholas Holt. He's a pretty guy. Like he's just very pretty. Um, But yeah, watch Renfield. And you know, it's always interesting seeing Nicolas Cage just kind of do anything. He's a character for sure. Sometimes I'm like, I'm here for it. Sometimes I'm not. That's part of the reason why I put Arcadian on there, because I was like, I don't care what this is about. I'll just watch it because Nicolas Cage is in it. It's probably gonna be hilarious. I really want to watch the like the incredible, like the unbearable weight of incredible talent or whatever that like Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage movie is. I really want to watch that. I still haven't seen that, but I love Pedro Pascal. He's beautiful, and he's welcome to sit on my face, or I'll sit on his face, or we'll just trade places. I don't know. He's he's beautiful. He's funny. He seems very sweet. He's a trans ally, and honestly, I can't think of like anything wrong with him that I know. Yeah, very method from what I've heard, but also like really a weird guy. Really a weird guy. So, what colors are you doing for your hexagon cardigan? It's funny that we all kind of took a break from hexagon cardigans, and now we're back doing hexagon cardigans. I'm actually really excited about doing this hexagon cardigan. Not only because I find that the dual pride that I wanted to do for the hexagon cardigans interests me a lot, but because you get to really get a feel for like that person in particular. But I also like this is the first time that someone has come to me and wanted an intersex pride side, which is exciting because I wonder if what the impact of open conversations about it during the Olympics had on people who are intersex being out and open. Um, Black and gradients of green. You better fucking stop. That sounds gorgeous. Gradients of green. You know I love green. I love green. Sorry, I had a moment. But I wonder, you know, not that's not to say, and I don't know this person. Uh, you know, I don't know what that means for this person. Uh, as far as you know, were they out before or whatever, but I do think it's really incredible because this is one of the first times in my memory where there has been such open dialogue about folks that are intersex and how they exist and how they like how you know not only um, you know, because you know, trans people will often talk about the existence of intersex folks when people are like, "Well, what are your chromosomes?" And it's like, "Well, you don't like unless you get your chromosomes tested. Like, a lot of people don't know, and like." You know, so it's like, well, like, don't act like you fucking know my chromosomes, and like stuff like that, and you know, your genitalia doesn't make you, and all of these things, and so these are things that trans folks have been trying to talk about for so long. And then, you know, I feel like, like, you know, people being intersex have been kind of um, used as proof of a lot of these things, right? You know, that, you know, biological sex is not just binary and things like that. And so I wonder if this person feels like you know if this is you know a positive repercussion of what happened at the Olympics, or if this person was gonna just get this anyways. But I think it's great people being out and happy with who they are and being proud. I think that that's amazing. I think it's amazing. I love it. That's why I fucking do this shit. Because it's what everyone deserves to be um, out who they are. And I hope a certain group of people get their asses sued off, personally. But that's just me being petty. Okay, let me take a quick measurement. This yarn is much heavier than the ice cream yarn. It's a 4-weight yarn, but it's also just like it's got that heft to it, that heft to it that the ice cream yarn just doesn't really weigh the same. It's interesting, but that sounds amazing, and you always do such good work. And I love greens. I'm sad that I missed out on the goblin yarn from Hirschner's because that yarn is freaking stupid gorgeous. Um, but that's okay. It happens. Okay, so we finished that. Okay. And it's like shades of green and black. They still have some of their Halloween yarn. I just, I'm so bad at like, if yarn is like even mildly self striping, I just get this like paralysis of like, what if I can't use it? What if I don't know how to use it? So here is the Trans Pride half. Now, with the intersex half, because the patch will be on the outside, it's not going to be reversible. Like if they had turned it inside out, like they could wear it on the other half. So they're going to have to pick what side that they want to use this on. But I have had a little bit of contact with the person who ordered this, and they seem very sweet. And I was like, look, like I asked them a couple questions just to make sure I got exactly what they wanted. They seem very sweet and they're super excited about this. So I can't wait to hopefully make the cardigan of their dreams. So now that we have this half, let's continue with the yellow. Also, this yellow is perfect. Like, because I was hoping to use something that I had, but I liked the anti-pilling aspect so much that I was like, I should just switch over to anti-pilling for everything, especially for like a cardigan, for something that someone might have for a long time. I'm just gonna switch over to anti-pilling. But then some colors were too, like some like yellows were too like primary yellow, and some were too the mustard was too like brown. And when I, because like sometimes when I looked up the intersex pride flag, it would be the color would look like a primary yellow, and then sometimes it would look more like a mustardy yellow, and I didn't know quite what yellow I should look for. And so and I thought that that would be an important detail. So I looked up the description, and the description says a golden yellow. And so I thought this mustard um, from Basic Stitch. Yeah. Um, it's so hard to distinguish Basic Stitch and Big Twist now. Um, but this color is like a perfect golden yellow. I think Big Twist had in their living line. They had a yellow and they had a mustard, but they just weren't right. And this one was just perfect. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm super happy with it. Just wish it was split just a little bit less. I could switch over to my 6.5 Clover, which wouldn't be a big deal because it does have a slightly larger handle. Is this the 6.5? Yeah, this is the K. So it does have a slightly larger handle than the rest of the ones, but I just have been using this, and so it won't be as pointy, but I don't know, I just really like this pearls, so I'm gonna try to keep on with it, see if I can make it work. But it probably is splitting the yarn a little bit just because the tends to be a little bit more in line than the clovers. Trying to figure out what I want for dinner. Maybe some. I've been trying to eat more meat, which I've been good about. Um, so I have some like spicy little chicken tenders. Um, I'm using a 6.5 millimeter, and you're the scream! Yay! Twins again. Go Twitches. Go Twitches. Susan Bates. Yeah, see, Susan Bates. The only I the only time I really like using a Susan Bates is when I am on my knitting machine. And it is amazing for picking up stitches. Like nothing compares. Like I hate using any other hook other than a Susan Bates hook on my knitting machine because it's just so good at picking up stitches. Everything else I'm kind of like, nah, it's just too in line for me. I need a hybrid, or I need something more tapered personally. But I also use like, especially during the summer, I use so much cotton this summer that like it just was like I couldn't even imagine having done half the work I did with something like a Susan Bates. Okay, I have this white and I need to get a handle on it because it's doing a doing right now. Maybe it's a rule that all 6.5s have to be green. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick step away. I'm going to uh, grab a drink and use the restroom. So I'm going to put the uh, the uh, the countdown screen on, but the countdown doesn't mean anything. Just a heads up. I know I can play music too, but I always hate the music. Then I spend like 20 minutes trying to find like decent music, and that's stupid. Hello, I am back. Sorry, I did get distracted picking at my own face because I didn't realize how badly I was breaking out. So every time I shave, like I break out really, really badly, and it's like I don't like my face is just like not having it, and so like I'll break out on like my mustache area, like especially like right here, and then like all up under my chin, and I thought that this was part of it's the hair growing back, but then like I was like, there's so much texture, it must be like my hair growing back. No, it's like half of it's just breakouts. And I'm like, oh fuck. But puberty, what are you gonna do? Okay, so thank you for waiting, everyone. I I'm not a big drinker, but I did. I was like, you know what? Let's just treat ourselves to a little beer. I got this just because I thought it sounded really weird, if I'm being honest. So this is from Brewery Bavana. It's called Glean, and it's a mango peppercorn saison. So it could be and likely will be very bad, but I bought it. A while ago. So let's why would you put peppercorn in it? But honestly, I don't think I could tell you the difference between this and a Michelob Ultra. And this is probably like 3 times the price. Like it just tastes like a normal beer. Yeah, there's literally nothing fancy about this. Maybe it's because I don't know. There's nothing fancy about that. Okie dokie. Well, so be it, right? Like you would think with descriptors like that, it would be like a pretty notable taste. But like, like with the name like Bavana, it's like maybe it's got this like this like Indian heritage, like kind of like ties, and so maybe like the mango and the peppercorn would give this kind of like really interesting thing. That's what I was thinking at the time, but honestly, just tastes normal. You can tell what I bought just grocery wise before I moved out and after I moved out because it's like, is it like Great Value brand or Food Lion brand or like the cheapest brand, or is it like something like fancy? Because if it was fancy, it was before I moved out, before I knew I was moving out. Those were different times. Those were different times for sure. You know what I think could be fun? If we like, I don't even know like where we would start though. But I was just like, it would be fun to just do some like hot takes on like crochet and yarn and knitting and just like yarnery in general. Like, what are some hot takes that people have? Um, the reason I thought of this is because I looked at the Rainbow Big Twist Living. I've obviously just been using the Trans Pride one, and I know that there is a lot of opportunity for growth there, but I don't think that, like, personally, I don't feel like Big Twist was commended enough for, like, what they were trying to do with this line. For me, it felt like a great first effort in like trying to do a bunch of different pride flags. And it also, instead of like having just like self-striping yarn, to do a variegated yarn selection of a lot of flags. And especially the flags that like you just don't see color combinations like that, like the pansexual pride flag. You definitely don't see stuff like that. to paint blue and yellow. So I thought it was great. And then I also thought it was good for like more incognito pride showings. Because you could just be like, I just like the colors, you know? Maybe you did just like the colors and you weren't trying to represent anything. But I thought it was like good at like more subtlety. But I think that a lot of people didn't like the distribution of color and the order of the colors or things like that. And I feel like maybe a little bit of the backlash might have could have potentially like I don't know like affected like whether or not other companies would be willing to get into like the pride like colorway um, space. I didn't feel like it was. I mean, it's definitely like marketing, right? Like, it's definitely marketing, but like that doesn't mean it's bad. Um, to give people yarn to like express the colors that they want to express. So, especially for a anti-pilling, um, and acrylic variegated yarn, I felt like it did a great job. It's very soft. Um, I would say that skein over skein, they're not very consistent. That's something that they could improve, but that has nothing to do with with um, with you know the colors that they chose or anything like that. I think it's just how their dye process or whatever. But I ended up really liking. I actually really like them, and I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a hot take. So does anyone have any hot takes? You can go like this. Why don't you share your hot take if you want? Sorry, I'm just taking like a little quick break. Surprisingly, my wrist has been just like pretty good. I haven't had much like wrist or hand pain in this whole process of kind of whipping out this project a lot faster than I usually do. I mistakenly put this on my Etsy for a 1 week turnaround instead of my usual 2 week turnaround. So I can do it kind of at a more relaxed pace. And like, I will really want to make sure it gets done. I have all the yarn, like everything's ready to go so that at 1 week, I like definitely know it's going to be ready to be sent out, even if other orders come in. Um, so, uh, so yeah, so I'm doing it a lot faster than I normally would, which is why I'm trying to do it at what I would consider breakneck speed for me. Breakneck speed for me is like snail's pace for everyone else. So yeah, that's one hot take that I have. Also, I'm curious. So I've been like, whenever I go to Joann's, I've seen that they have the Whooples yarn just like there now, not just in like the kits, but they have the yarn, the easy peasy yarn or whatever it's called. They have the yarn for sale by itself, which I think is a good marketing strategy for them because if people start to crochet and then they find that all the other yarn that they're using starts to split on them because they were taught on how to crochet a tube, they're going to have a bit harder of a time. It does kind of wedge them into this really difficult position, but, the crocheter, but, Woobles does kind of corner that market. But it does look like interesting yarn. But I wonder from people who are more seasoned crocheters if Woobles yarn would ever interest them in doing and using. For me, it doesn't quite grab me. And I think there's a couple reasons why. Like, if I were to use this kind of like like the tube with the polyester filling. I don't think I would pick from that particular line. Um, Mostly because like the color options are very limited and they're very not I guess like basic could be used like to describe it, but like it's also very just like if you want a blue, you're just gonna get a blue. Like you're not gonna get like an interesting blue or like an interesting green. Like you're just gonna get like kind of like a basic green, if that makes sense. And I think that's good for people who are like, starting maybe, but like what draws me a lot of the times is not just the yarn itself, but like the color selection and what I could create with it. And if I'm not seeing any colors that I'm really connected with, I'm not like any like really cool, like wow, like look at how beautiful this like burnt orange is or something like that. If I'm just seeing like a primary orange, I'm just like not really like inspired to create with it. Does anyone else kind of feel like that, where they like not only do they look at the yarn, but they also look at the color selection and see what they can make out of that? Because like combining two or three of the Rubles colors, I'm like that doesn't feel like it would seem like doesn't seem like it would be like that interesting. But I don't know. I haven't tried using it. I also haven't used any of the Rubles kits. I knew how to crochet before they came out. A lot of us did. I think it's great to teach people how to crochet, but I do have some issues with like certain parts of it, like the fact that they start a project for people. I think that like because basically they do a magic circle for people and they're like just jump right into it, and I understand the magic circle is challenging and things like that, but it's like, well, what happens when they want to make another project? Do they have to buy another kit because you didn't really teach them how to do a magic circle? Or I don't know what Google's will teach you, and I don't know if you'll be able to easily translate your skills to other yarn. So I wonder how people who learn on Weebles, if they continue to crochet or if it's just kind of like, oh, I crocheted this thing, I tried it, that was cool, but now I'm good. I love the idea of it though, of introducing people to crochet, because a lot of crochet kits that I've seen in the past, I've just been like, oh, these are terrible. these are awful. So I like the idea of it. I'm glad they're being successful. I wish they would stop partnering with who, she who must not be named. But I think we're all wishing, all of us who have opinions about that, we're all wishing it'll just change hands. But so I think I said tonight we're gonna watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I really like. I never wear like red, and this is a shirt from my old job. I really feel like I look like Thing One or Thing Two from like Dr. Seuss when I wear red with the blue hair. Someone came on yesterday and was like, "Is your hair turquoise or green?" And I was like, "I think it's blue, but who knows?" At this point, really, who knows? I don't really know if I want to go blue again. Like blue actually seemed to work better on me than I anticipated, because I did blue for Pride in June, and so it's been like over 2 months or just at 2 months that I've had my hair blue. And the blue's actually been pretty, I mean, the blue and the green and the yellow are all pretty easy to keep maintained. It's just once it grows out, that's where it really becomes, more of a, you know, difficulty. The problem with the blue is that it's hard to get the roots light enough and not yellow enough, where the blue dye will stay blue. Like it'll turn green almost instantly, if not instantly, because my roots, because of the way color, when you remove color from your hair, from dark hair, from naturally dark hair, it goes through certain color phases, and as it lightens, from like your darkest dark to your lightest light, and so first it goes through a red phase, and then it goes through an orange phase, then it goes through a yellow phase, then it goes through a light yellow phase, and so usually I don't bleach my hair enough for it to go like light yellow where the blue would stick the best, and I definitely never get it to a white phase because that's just damaging my hair for no reason, in my opinion. So usually I go yellow because it's always provided a good base for like the yellow or the green that I've had in my hair. But because blue does not have yellow in it, it kind of changes the color of my of the blue that I have in there. So it looks a little like less looks a little less polished, but I'm very polished. I just opened my phone up and I saw that cluster mesh stitch. Oh, that yarn! Oh my gosh! I'm just watching the it play. That yarn is so pretty, Crystal. Oh my gosh! I'm like drooling. And that's hand spun yarn from you, I imagine. Oh my goodness! Wow, that is beautiful. I'm gonna have to say this on my watch later. Mm-hmm. Dear, there's so many people online right now. So it is close to 9, so let's watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Gotta get my setup going. And I think I said that I was gonna watch something. Actually, I'm not in my 100 Nights of Halloween. Okay, so I'm gonna get off of this and I'm gonna go on the other stream that I have because the other stream goes on Twitter, not Twitter, Twitch. So I'll be back in like 5 minutes with a new stream. I know that that's annoying, but I can't add. I don't think I can add. Can I? Do I know what number of days I'm on? Can I change the channel name? Okay, I'm